So, Maid Sama. When I talked about Maid Sama, it was for an adapting class, and it was about how I would adapt Maid Sama into a Netflix series. And it actually moved to Netflix, and it blew up. The video blew up. It's one of my most viewed videos. So, like, thanks, but why? In the video, I guess it came off as I disliked the show Maid Sama. Well, I don't. Obviously, there are elements in there that I cannot stand, especially one huge one within the last 5 to 6 episodes. But we're probably going to talk about that later. I don't hate the show. I can never hate a romance show, no matter how much I try to. I don't think I could ever hate a romance show unless they just completely messed it up and the characters never got together in the end. There was also a misconception with the video that it sounded like I hated the fact that it took place in a maid cafe, or that I hated maid cafes in general. Again, I don't. I love a good girl. I mean, I love a good maid. Like, who wouldn't love somebody catering to your every whim, calling you master, and basically obeying every word you say? Like, come on, daddy needs some love. The point of the video was to westernize the show, and maid cafes, although there are some in the States, is definitely not a regular Western thing, so to speak, as it is in a place like Tokyo. But, as mentioned earlier, I never got to actually talk about the show. So now that it is the month of Valen Scoot, I can finally discuss Maid Sama in as much length as I want to. Maid Sama is a popular anime and manga series written by Hiro Fujiwara. The manga took place from 2005 to 2013, and the anime is slap in the middle of that, with the complete series airing in 2010. Can you guys tell me how the manga differs from the anime? Because I would really like to know, to be honest. The anime, animated by JC Staff, takes place in modernish day, where the main character, Misaki Ayuzawa, is a hard-working class president that tries to balance her school life, where she is trying to change the rep of the previous all-boys school, Enemy is Necessary, and work life, where she works as a maid in a maid cafe. Obviously, with a double life like this, she tries to keep it a secret from as many people as she can. While she goes on with her life, the other main character, Takumi Usui, the most perfect person in every shape and form, develops feelings for her and decides to spend the rest of his life and time protecting her, mocking her, and being by her side, even if she acts like she doesn't want it. The series draws a fine line between serialized and episodic. I'd say for the most part it is episodic, but things do carry over from episode to episode since time is a thing. So I think the best way to go about a story like this is to talk about the story via character analyses. So I will discuss the two main characters, their relationship, and potentially another character that I really cannot fucking stand. So when I get to that point, and I may go off the rails, please just bear with me. Just bear with me. Misaki is a 16-year-old high school student attending a former all-boys school that's now co-ed. But there is a catch. 1. She hates the opposite gender, and it gets brought up a lot about how she treats women very different from how she treats men. When I first watched the show, I assumed they were just trying to push the narrative, as we say on the Wonder Woman 1984 episode of the Scooch podcast. Women good, men bad. But on second watch, I do realize there's more to it than first glance. They say it as an offhanded comment and don't really put much light to it, but her and her sister grew up in a single mother household. At one point when they were young, their father left them without a goodbye, notice, or anything. Because of this fact, and the fact that her mother so often overworks herself to the point where she gets sick, she started working as well. That's as much attention as they give to him. But it's enough to understand why her feelings towards men are so skewered within the show. Normally, in and out of stories where someone lives in a single household, there is less of a childhood they get to have. They feel like they have to grow up faster to help provide since one of the sole providers aren't around. People like Usui, Aoi, Yukimura, and Kano help break that perceived notion because of how different they are from the stereotypical / generic guy. Misaki has no time for social life. She wants to change the reputation from her school being that ewy all-boys school with those rough and tough delinquents to something more approachable to women so the new co-ed thing can be more normal. That's why she's the president of the student council. She's always trying to be on top of her studies. She's always trying to get the highest grade and all of the amazing merits that the school can offer. From that, and working to provide for her family, she doesn't have any off time. She always seems stressed, like if something else tugs on that one string, she'll snap. But she doesn't. She doesn't break no matter how hard things get, how impossible the odds look. She never stops trying. But that doesn't leave her without her flaws. The main 3 flaws that I noticed throughout the show is her hatred towards men that was mentioned earlier. She's an airhead when it comes to specific social cues, and she doesn't know how to properly express her feelings. I would discuss why these things are problematic, but when it comes to the latter 2, I used to be just the same in high school. I was an idiot when it comes to noticing how people see me and the things I do. I sometimes would just choose not to talk to people some days because it's just easier for me like that sometimes. And expressing my feelings back then, especially when it came to relationships, I completely sucked at it. I could never talk about my feelings with my voice. I would have to use actions like texting or whatever. And for Misaki, it's getting flustered or aggressive. Flaws make us human, and we go through them, even once we get into adulthood, and even afterwards. If God looked down on the earth and said that He would bless us with the perfect human, that human would either have to be Takumi Usui, or he just would have compared to the greatness of what Takumi Usui is. Obviously, with Maid Sama being a shoujo, which is the exact opposite of a shonen, meaning it targets a female audience, a younger female audience, Usui was made to be that. He was literally made to be the perfect boy. They never really say his age within the show, but since he's in the same grade as Misaki, I'm just gonna assume that he's 16 as well. From the perspective of the anime, we don't really get to see much background of the character or his family. We only get to assume his character based on the actions he partakes in from the current time where the anime is taking place. He is a popular student, a pretty boy, a manly man, and a heartbreaker. Both the guys and the girls love him. They make sure you see him turn down girls left and right, especially in the early episodes, to establish his character until his eyes finally meet Misaki's. From then on, his feelings develop more and more, but because of the character that Misaki is, he spends the majority of the time teasing her and throwing signals at her here and there that she takes completely wrong for some reason. It hurts you to watch this boy torture himself, loving a girl that is seemingly unaware of her feelings. As a guy watching this, you feel for Usui and wonder if he will ever give up. At times it seems like he will, but he never quits. He keeps at it. Even when she says she hates him, then thanks him for saving her, then says she hates him again. He doesn't stop. But just like Misaki, Usui isn't perfect in the slightest. He is a stubborn person who, even when injured or sick, will continue to do things and go to school. He only cares about his interests mostly. There are multiple times within the show that he is possessive when it comes to Misaki and even ruins her plans to go places at times because of his possessiveness. He's cocky, the jealous type, and can be quite touchy at times, but just like I said with Misaki, his flaws are what makes him human. He doesn't get a pass for anything in the slightest, even though he is perfect boy and best boy and deserves that overlook. He still has flaws. Yes, he does. Their relationship is quite the odd one. It consists of bickering from both ends. Usui being the playful one and Misaki being the aggressive one. Each episode has them either do something cute in it, or Usui saves the day or tries to, but Misaki's determination and strength, emotional wise and physical wise, of course, because she is strong, helps her, save herself. Like I said earlier, Misaki misses a lot of social cues that Usui throws at her, and passes it off as him teasing her or being a weirdo. She doesn't acknowledge his feelings towards her, and with this being 26 episodes, it can feel a bit long, and you'd want them to kiss already or something, but they don't, and the worst thing that happens in the show happened. A third wheel came into the picture and made it a love triangle. Do I even have to say that I hate Hinata? His presence is literally only there to artificially force the two characters to stay apart that you want together. He comes in episode like 21 of 26, claiming that he knew Misaki back in elementary school and he's had a crush on her ever since. I don't fucking care. I do not fucking care. I don't care. Nothing the story did made me feel anything for this character. He can go back and cry with his grandpa or whatever because he has nothing to do with the story at hand and never will. I wanted the first kiss to be in front of Hinata, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, so he knows his place, as someone introduced last minute just to make the story longer. I hate you, Hinata. You don't deserve any of the screen time you get. I hate you. I hate you. Overall, I do like the show. Anything that gets me like just a decent romance story will automatically be good in my book, be pretty top tier. But I don't understand how this is people's favorite. I don't know. I don't understand how this is everyone's like favorite romance show, if that makes sense. The only characters I care for are Misaki, Usui, maybe Aoi, maybe even Yukimura, but I don't care for any of the other characters in the slightest, especially not Hinata. So, like, I get that some people may like all the characters, and of course, if you do like all of the characters, you're gonna love all of the situations and all of the episodes that comes with it because they give a lot of characters screen time within the show. But I don't get the universal love. I just don't get the universal love for Maid Sama. If I had to watch this episode when it came out week to week, this 26 episode anime, I'd feel like it was long overdue for them to get together. I'd feel even more pissed that Hinata was included within the show because I literally cannot fucking stand him. I hate him. I hate everything about him. He doesn't need to be there. He doesn't need to be there at all. Jesus fucking Christ. It's a good show though. I can never put it at classic tier like a lot of people can, honestly speaking. Maybe that's just me and my weird taste, so yeah. But that's basically it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this first edition of Valen Scoot. And yeah, I'll see you guys around next time. Bye! Bye!